Good afternoon. Good early evening to everyone. To my city council and other local officials here, Senator Tom Young, Representative Bart Blackwell, my council colleagues, and Representative Clyburn. I don't know if he's here. Anyway, we've all come together tonight to provide an update on the city's recovery efforts to handle the devastating impacts of Hurricane Helene. First, thank you all for being here, whether you're in person or if you are watching us from home. I know many of you are in the same situation, without power for several days now, dealing with property damage, managing downed trees, and lots of debris. We're searching for ice and gas and hot food to keep our families safe and fed. The storm's toll on life and property has been one of worst in recent history. I know I speak for all the City Council when I say that we are all in this together and we will get through this together. Aiken is a resilient and strong community. I have seen this firsthand by watching neighbors helping neighbors, city staff members working tirelessly to clear roads and respond to emergencies. While these times are challenging, it also brings out the best in our community. I'm proud to work with the City Council and a city staff who truly make service to the public a priority. Since the early morning hours of Friday, September 27th, I wish it was December, when Hurricane Helene began to impact Aiken, city staff have been working around the clock. Our public services, utilities, and public safety staff members have been on duty ensuring the safety of our community by removing hundreds of trees from roadways, putting in thousands of hours of city staff time since early Friday morning, continuously monitoring sanitary sewer lift stations with no power to ensure no service disruption to customers, repairing water lines that were broken by uprooted trees. Our water plant staff has been working 24/7 to monitor the city well systems and generator power to ensure city water still reaches our citizens. And there is no boil water advisory, and our water is flowing freely. If you have heard that there is going to be interruptions, that is not true. Staff pitching in to help other departments when some staff members were unable to get to work because of downed trees or damaged vehicles and homes. And city public services staff are manually pulling trash cans to trucks stationed at the ends of roads to empty them for customers, as many of our roads are too filled with yard debris for garbage trucks to safely navigate them. These are only a few examples of how our city has prioritized public service and caring for our community over the past few days. We met with Governor McMaster, South Carolina Department of Transportation Secretary Justin Powell, SLED Chief Mark Keel, and the presidents of Dominion Energy and Aiken Electric Cooperative yesterday. All of them are aware of the challenges we are facing here in Aiken and are committed to providing us the resources we need as quickly as they can. Helene has caused damage and disruption statewide. I have here a transcript of that meeting yesterday with Governor McMaster. It was most informative, and if anyone wants a copy, I'm happy to print it off for you. I was pleased to learn earlier today that Governor McMaster's request for federal disaster relief for Aiken County was approved, which will allow for people in our community to apply for assistance, for low-cost loans, to cover uninsured property losses, and for business owners to get the help they may need to recover from this terrible storm. There is no doubt that there are still challenges ahead for us. Many of us don't have power at home and business. Gas can still be challenging to find. People are going weary and tired, and our tempers are a little iffy. But amidst these challenges, I see something powerful. We have resilience here, and we have spirit, and we have a beautiful city. I am inspired by the countless acts of kindness I've witnessed, volunteers stepping up to lend a hand, and local organizations coming together to provide support, hot meals, and warm showers. As we begin the process of recovery, which we will, knowing that our city is mobilizing every resource and partnering with county and state agencies to assist you. Please lean on us, lean on the city, call us, ask questions. We are here to answer. I I don't mind at all. I rather enjoy giving out information that is the truth instead of rumors. Let's lean on each other, whether it's offering a helping hand, sharing supplies, sharing a meal, or simply checking on each other. Every effort counts. Check on your neighbor. It's important. I urge you to stay hopeful, to stay connected, and to keep looking out for each other. Be kind, be patient, please. It will come back. Our power will come back. It just takes time. It was so much damage. The trees were so snarled up in all the lines, and it just was unprecedented. So I thank you all, and let's do this together. And now I'd like to introduce Senator Tom Young.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to recognize my colleague, State Representative Bart Blackwell, who's here, and it's my understanding that State Representative Bill Clyburn is on his way here. The three of us represent the city of Aiken in the South Carolina General Assembly, and I can tell you that the state has been working hand in hand with our local government officials, both at the county and the city level, to address this storm and its aftermath. As I described it yesterday in a newsletter I emailed out to my constituents, all of you probably are my constituents. If you're not on my email list, you need to let me know, and I can put you on there. But I described it as unbelievable, catastrophic damage, and this has been a life-changing event for all of us here in Aiken and Aiken County and in this part of South Carolina. The damage and destruction is beyond anything that any of us could have ever imagined last week, even when we were warned on Wednesday and Thursday that there would be potential catastrophic, well, I don't know if it would be potentially high winds in our region, but I don't think anyone ever dreamed it would be anywhere close to what it currently is. The Dominion president for South Carolina was the SC&G head of that division for SC&G 10 years ago during Winter Storm Pax, which was our ice storm in 2014. He told me yesterday that this storm is so much more damage to the power infrastructure across Aiken County and across the Dominion system. And I've heard the same thing from Gary Stooksbury at the Aiken Electric Co-op. The poles that are down. Today, Keller Kassam, who's the Dominion, South Carolina head, said at the governor's press conference that there were over 1,000 poles that are damaged in Aiken County alone in their system. That doesn't count what's damaged in the Aiken Electric Co-op system. Gary Stooksbury told me Saturday morning that just based on what they had reviewed on Friday in the Aiken Electric Co-op system in Edgefield County, they had counted over 100 down poles that would have to be replaced in Edgefield. And as you all know, the service territory for Aiken Electric Co-op is larger in Aiken County than it is in Edgefield. So they've got hundreds of poles, I'm sure, that they're having to address. There are literally hundreds of linemen and personnel for Dominion and Aiken Electric Co-op who are on the ground in Aiken County currently. It's my understanding that in the city of Aiken alone, today there are approximately 200 linemen and personnel for Dominion in the city of Aiken. In Aiken County, countywide for Dominion, it's several hundred. Yesterday it was 500 countywide. Today it's several hundred higher than that. They are anticipating that they will have, from what he said yesterday at the governor's press conference out at the airport, Keller Kassam from Dominion said that they anticipated they would have as many as 1,800 personnel in this region, linemen and personnel, working to restore power to our citizens and to their customers. Aiken Electric Co-op has over 300 working currently in Aiken County, and they're working as hard as they can, and they have more on the way as well. So the focus of the restoration efforts and recovery efforts, I should say, has been on power restoration, on clearing of roads, and on the maintenance of our water and wastewater systems. And fortunately for those of us who live in the city of Aiken, the city has had a backup power for the water and the water systems. And so we haven't had a problem, as I understand it, and power is restored to those now. Yes. But in other places in Aiken County, for example, in New Ellington and in Jackson, and in some areas outside of New Ellington, they've had problems with water. In fact, they went without water for a period of time, and we were able to assist our legislative delegation working with the state. We were able to assist in getting backup generators to the water systems in those rural communities, so that our local neighbors outside in the rural parts of the county would not lose water. There are currently on the ground dozens of team or crews from both the South Carolina Department of Transportation, from Aiken County, through direct county employees, as well as hired debris contractors, as I understand it, that the county has hired, as well as South Carolina National Guard personnel, and City of Aiken and City of North Augusta, I'm talking countywide, personnel who are working to clear the roads in the City of Aiken and in the City of North Augusta and around Aiken County. We just want to ask the public to be patient. I know that there's a lot of people that have gotten their power back, but there are a lot more that still don't have power. I don't have power where I live in the city, and I don't know when we'll get it back in the neighborhood I live in. The damage in the areas, some areas of downtown, and then the areas of Midtown Aiken, and then the areas of Aiken Estates, and then out in Cameo Hill, Highland Park, West Cliff areas, is damage that's really not been seen since Hurricane Hugo by the senior linemen who work for the utility companies. And the similar neighborhood in North Augusta is the Hammond Hills neighborhood, in the areas around Hammond Hills and North Augusta. They're telling us, me and other local officials, that the damage in these areas that I just mentioned is beyond anything that they have seen since Hurricane Hugo. And everybody in here who lived here in 2014 during the ice storm, you can attest when you tell people about what we were experiencing. The ice storm was, branches and smaller trees that fell, and there were a lot of them, and we had a problem. But this storm has taken out enormous trees, just like all the trees in front of the City Hall here. 100-year-old pine trees, 100-year-old oak trees, and the list goes on, that we'll never see again in our lifetimes, that are gone, literally overnight. They're either uprooted, broken, or just gone. And it's really, really makes you want to almost cry when you look around and you see what it's done to the community. But we will overcome, and we will come back, and we will recover, and I have to all work together. Like the mayor said, we have to help our neighbor. We need to remember to pray. I know there's a lot of people in this room. I see people nodding their head. We need to remember to pray about this situation, and we need to, and most importantly, we need to be appreciative for all the people who are working night and day to help us get this cleaned up and to get the power back and to restore some sense of normalcy back to our community and our county and our state. I see Chief Baranco in the back, the law enforcement personnel, the Sheriff's Department personnel, the first responders out in the rural communities, the county and city workers who are working their tails off, the SCDOT folks, the National Guard that are here. The list goes on. All these people, the linemen and the personnel, we can't be thankful enough for what all of these folks are doing and what our governor is doing in Columbia with his team at the Emergency Management Division. And today, you may or may not have heard, but the governor's request for a major disaster declaration was approved. by the presidential administration. And so that means that there will be individual assistance, and there will be assistance for local governments and the state and small businesses, much like it was after the ice storm in 2014, and the more details about that will be provided. But in the short term, we just got to all remember that we've got to be patient, and we've got to know that some of the folks in this room and some of the people that live around us may not get power for several more days. And it's not because there's not an effort going on to get them power. There's enormous effort going on, and we just got to be patient. One last thing I want to mention is that on the fuel situation, I've sat in line multiple times getting gas. I know what it's like many of you, and I can assure you that I think the situation is about to improve. I was told by the South Carolina Petroleum Marketers leadership and the Office of Regulatory Staff with the state this weekend that there were two main problems for why we were seeing what we were seeing. First is that the North Augusta Distribution Center that we have off of I-20 and in the Sweetwater area of Aiken County and the lower part of Edgefield County, they did not have power to that distribution center. That distribution center provides fuel to all of the Midlands of South Carolina and part of Georgia. And so they didn't have power. We had to get power restored to that center, and that happened today. Today, Dominion said that they got power back to that location, and I think it was before lunch today. So that was a big, big positive that occurred today. The second thing is that, as you know, if you went out and tried to find gas on Friday afternoon, there weren't many places to find gas. When you went out Saturday morning, there still weren't many places to find gas. When you went out Sunday morning, there were a few more places than there were Saturday. And when you went out today, there were more places than there were yesterday. That condition will continue to improve. And the reason it's going to improve is because of the utility companies have focused on trying to restore power to the distribution lines that provide power to where our citizens and our neighbors and everyone in this room can buy groceries and fuel and ice and other necessities that we need. And so that's what they've been doing. And like today, I went down Richland Avenue and the food line was closed this morning. But I came back through there after lunch and the food line was open. So, that side of town did not have a grocery store open. There were grocery stores on the south side, but they were open as of Saturday afternoon in some places, but there weren't any grocery stores open on this side of Aiken. That has changed, and the reason is because they have been able to restore the power to those stores, and that's just an example of what I'm talking about. They have focused on getting power back to where you can buy the necessities like fuel, food, and ice, and other staples that you need at your home. So we'll continue to see improvement, I believe, on the fuel front in the next few days. And I just want to once again urge everyone to be patient. I want to thank Stuart Biedenbow, the city manager, and the mayor, and all of city council for all the work that they're doing. And I want to again thank Representative Blackwell and Representative Clyburn and the other members of our legislative delegation. And I also want to give a shout out to the Aiken County Emergency Management Team, Paul Matthews and Brian Sanders, the county administrator, and all the folks that are working with them. We can't say enough good things about all of those folks who are working their tails off so that all of us can get our lives back to normal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce Mr. Matt Merrifield from the, tell me the right name of the hospital. Aiken Regional Medical Centers. How are you?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Matt Merrifield, the Chief Executive Officer at Aiken Regional Medical Centers. I certainly appreciate the opportunity to speak before you today. I'm glad it was today because this is probably about the most cleaned up I've looked for the last few days. So I was glad that cold shower was good this morning. So, no, all kidding aside, it's needless to say it's been a challenging few days. Hospitals are not one that are able to close in times of crisis. In fact, that's when we really need to make sure that we've been able to stay open. And so I've got to start off by just saying thank you. I've had the opportunity to serve in different locations around the country, one of which being New Orleans, and so I'm not my first time going through a hurricane, but I must say the damage that I've seen here and the challenges that we've seen here are unlike any I've seen. And so I've been so humbled by the calls, the texts, the frankly just sheer kindness that everybody in our team has seen, not just from those that may feel like an obligation to do some of those things, but also just the people in the community. We had a number of people using their own chainsaws to make sure our nurses and our doctors and others could get to work. And if they can get to work, they can take care of those that need us. So very, very appreciative of that. And I'm also appreciative of certainly our state, local delegations, Aiken Public Safety, the city, the county. If we called, they responded. Even when we didn't call, they already had things in play for us. And so I just really cannot tell you thank you enough. That certainly helped us get through this. So just in terms of an update from me, I mentioned how proud I am of everybody, and I will continue to be. Our staff were there, and they left their own personal obligations at home in terms of service for the community. And so I know I'm a little bit biased since I'm a hospital CEO, but I really mean it when I say you all have a lot to be proud of in regards to the first responders, the medical staff, everybody in this community that provides care, because they came, they showed up, and they did what they needed to do. And so we've been able to take great care of patients. Just in terms of a current update for us, we are back on full power. So thank you to Dominion, well, I guess not SCC&G anymore. I guess it's be Dominion, but just everybody that supported us in getting back on full power. That was a Herculean effort by many regards, and it got done. We are fully open and operational, so anybody that needs emergency care or anything along those lines, we are there for them. There's nothing that we're limited on at this point. Our resources are still, we're maintaining a good review of those to make sure that we don't run short on anything, and I'm happy to report that we're not. We've got adequate food for patients. We've got medicines, air, oxygen, so everything that we need, we have. And so I appreciate everybody that's helped us to continue to sustain that. We are seeing a lot of volume in our emergency departments, not surprisingly. You normally would see that in these types of situations anyway, and then with some of the water challenges in our region, we've seen more of an influx than maybe we normally would. But nothing our team can't handle. We are seeing a lot of folks coming in for oxygen because when they run out of power, they don't have the way to use the mechanism that gets them their home oxygen, as well as dialysis, two things that have been a big challenge. And so very appreciative of the Department of Public Health at the state level really working with us to make sure that if patients can receive care in a location that's not the hospital, they've been partnering with us on that so that we can make sure that we've got the space and resources capable to provide the care that only we can provide. The fiber connectivity challenge that I don't know if everybody experienced that yesterday, but some major fiber lines being cut was a challenge for us. But again, Unity Fiber, Chartered, others have stepped to the plate and got us fully restored. So in regards to the challenges that we face, I think it's really no different than we're facing as a general community. And so I appreciate what Senator Young just shared and Mayor Milner. I think that working together to resolve all of these challenges as a team is the only way that we're going to get there. So I just say thank you again. If there's anything that we can do as a hospital to provide for you, your families, we're here to do that. As a CSRA region, other CEOs in the region have all been working together to help each other through these challenging times. And it's always nice to see everybody come together in the best interest of the community at large whenever we face these things. So I just can't say enough on behalf of myself, the team at the hospital who's there right now. Just thank you to all of you for helping us get to where we needed to be and continuing to offer the support. I am very honored to be part of this community. This really is a special place, and it doesn't work like this everywhere. And so I just say thank you again, and God bless all of you. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Representative Clyburn. Would you like to say a few words? No? I was told that you would have something to say. You don't have to.
Thank you, Mayor. I won't be about a half an hour, okay? Listen, I'm going to be very quick about this. I wasn't here when our chairman spoke, so I don't want to be redundant, but let me just say, I think everybody knows that the companies are doing all they can, the city, the county, and so that's a blessing. The storm was just really terrific, and I'm late getting here because I came down from Saluda, and it's terrible up there too in Edgefield. But I too want to thank all of you for what you have done. Now, I have one thing particularly in mind that I'm not sure you covered, and I just want to throw this in as a piece of the caveat, and that is, your people are so frustrated, they are so aggravated because they don't have electric power. And so I'm going to be talking to the city, the county, and the state, and the feds too, if necessary. But we certainly hope that these people who are just really having it hard, they don't have automobiles, they are workers, they are men and women who are working 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day, but they just don't have the funds to do the kinds of things for quality of life. So I'm going to be asking everybody, all the companies, to let's not close the door on any. Let's not stop water, electric, whatever the case may be. Let's not do that for a couple of months until people get on their feet and start moving. And that's what running over the holidays are coming up. People are hurt and depressed. We know that we're doing everything we know how to do, but we want to do some touchy things that the law or the rules may not call for, and that is to have a feeling for those who are really devastating. Thank you so much. Appreciate what you do.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to introduce the council members by district. And Gail Diggs, Councilwoman Gail Diggs is District 1.
Good afternoon. Well, we are all in this together, like it or not. I've had so many calls today about certain areas in District 1. Crosland Park is a war zone. That's what it looks like. So many areas on Williamsburg Street still has trees in the middle of the highway, and you can't even see over the tree. Let's more than get around it. But I've had 2 people that reached out to me in the last few hours, so God is so good. For those who are struggling with what to do about the debris in their yard, getting these trees cut down so that they can do some repairs, I have an answer. Ellen Luton from United Way has a crew of volunteers that have offered to come to the north side. And so I need a list from you guys, someone, especially elderly people, that has no idea, they have no idea where to begin to get these yards cleared. So what I need y'all to do is, if you have someone, especially in District 1, we're starting out with District 1, and especially if they are elderly and has no one that's coming to help, give me a call at 803-293-6704. These crews are ready to go to work early in the morning, so I need a list. And even if they aren't on North Side, if they're in desperate need, we can add them to the list as well. I also received a call from Roger Rollins, and Roger has a crew that's also ready to get to work. So guys, I really, really appreciate those who care enough to volunteer their services using their equipment to go out here and help us get this city back together. I thank you for being here today. Please spread the word with people around you, because most people don't have access to cell phones or power or a television. So please let them know what was discussed today. The mayor has a list of things from the governor's conference yesterday, which was very informative and loaded with some important information. So we need y'all. We need each other. Let's be kind, and let's just all remember that we're going to get through. We will go on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, Councilwoman Price, Leslie Price.
Good afternoon. I represent District 2, and I'll try not to be redundant with some things that have already been said. I can't even describe, based on comments that I have heard since Friday, of the different moods and feelings that has been expressed. Based on damages that have been done, homes that have been damaged, and people do not have insurance, where trees have fallen on their home, they feel without hope already. We are fortunate. I do not have power. I don't know who have power already here. But William and I do not have power. We have not been bent out of shape with that. He has some health concerns, but nevertheless, we're coping, and we are being patient. I'm seeing lessons being taught based on what we're experiencing with this crisis. I watched a gentleman giving civic lessons to 5 young people, where a neighbor had 4 trees to fall in his yard, and some of them had fell in the roadway. After they did their due diligence and did not see any wires, his friends came over to help cut the limbs out of the roadway. And here are 5 young men that were brought in, I'm assuming from somebody's church. And these young men were picking up the branches, putting them away. But when I saw them with their rakes and brooms sweeping the roadway, that is an impressive example of how we can train and show young people their civic responsibility. But it's bigger than that. And I want to thank Tom Young, Senator Young, and Blackwell, and as well as Bill Clyburn, both House members, for their comments. And Bill, you could not have hit it on the head when you talked about people right now worrying about how they're going to pay their bills when they don't even have service yet. Someone came by our home 2 days ago. They have no water and no electricity. They were trying to find water. So those things are what we're seeing with the public in terms of their needs. The other service they're needing is, how can I charge my phone? Where can I charge my phone? They don't know where to go for that kind of service. So if we have charging stations, we need to publicize in whatever we have those services that are available. On yesterday, we heard from the Salvation Army. They have fed over 5,000 people. People are hungry. They want meals to eat. They can't cook. So we should be providing that kind of information to the public as well. I know that this is an optimistic town, and I know that we're getting a little bit impatient because we're seeing all the debris. But there is a virtue with patience. And I plead with you to be patient with what's going on. I've talked to some folks whose spouses are out there. Their lives are at risk in terms of the jobs that they're doing. We need to keep them in our prayers, but also their families as well. If you have a talent that you want to give, if you have free services you want to provide, then I ask you to, can I say, Stuart, to call the city and let us know that there are services that can be provided to our public. We need all the help we can get, and I know that we talk about working together, but I'm one to say talk is cheap. Action is where it counts. Anybody can say, I can help you, but action, ACTION, is where it counts with all of us. Thank you. God bless you. And I know that we're going to get this city where we want to, back where, and even with some improvements as we move along. Thank you.
Thank you. And from District 3, Councilwoman Brohl. I'm tongue-tied.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's been a wild ride, hasn't it? And I was thinking, we all are going to talk to you about patience. And there's a scripture that says, tribulation worketh patience. I think we're finding that out. And I drove through my district, which encompasses Hounds Lake, West Cliff, Calmia. I had to pull over, and I think it was Senator Young said, you know, it makes you want to cry. Well, guess what? I had to pull over and weep. And as I was pulled over, as only would happen in Aiken, someone came up and said, are you all right? I said, yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. It is overwhelming because these are people that we know and we love. And we don't want anything to happen to them. And I'm thankful that the death toll has not been higher than it could be because this struck during the hours that if you could sleep, you were sleeping. I don't want to go over everything that's already been said. Our delegation has been wonderful. They are the ones that go to our Dominion Energy, the co-op, who are just, as it's been said before, working 24/7, sleeping in gyms, sleeping in places that are not comfortable for them, but they're doing it because they love what they do. So someone said to me some time ago, and it's true, Aiken is at its best when things are at their worst. You know, because we tend to disagree on things, but when things are really bad, we all pull together. And I want to thank you all for doing that. For everyone that came out today, please pass the word about being patient and that we are doing all we can. Our representatives are Dominion, Aiken Co-op. I mean, if you could have been at that meeting yesterday, you would have been so proud. Like, if we're going to war, I want those guys on my team. So thank you all so much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. Reassuring words. Next is Councilman Ed Girardeau from District 4.
Short people. All right, I'm not going to be that long. I agree with everything my colleagues have said. I appreciate those of you who've come down from different areas. It's a tough time. Taking back to 2014, 10 years ago, what we went through with the ice storm. There's some changes similar, but the one thing that's really a lot different, it's not freezing cold, thank God, because that was miserable from that perspective. Otherwise, yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot to be done. A lot of people are working hard. It helps to have a lot of patience. My story's kind of similar to everybody else's. I have a tree sitting on the side of my house. My neighbors, who did happen to own the tree, but that's okay, they came over. Their son got up on the roof, and he's in his 20s, so he could handle it. And he cut the limbs off the tree, and the teenage girls and I were carrying the limbs out to there. So, Lex, your guys are going to have a fun day when you get to Murray Court. But it's a heck of a pile that we managed to do, and I managed to fall down and hurt myself. So the story is, be careful. It's easy to get in a hurry, and it wasn't a whole lot of fun. But fortunately, it didn't hurt me so bad I had to go to the hospital. I think they've got enough going on there from our stories there. We'll get through it. We got through it in 2014, so many times before that. A lot of people working hard. Stuart, thank you for keeping us up to date on what's going on. It's helped me share that type of stuff. We'll get through it. We've gotten through it before. So everybody hang in there. We'll be there.
Thank you. Now I'll put it back. Well, you probably need it up higher. From District 5 is Councilwoman Gregory. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Milner. First and foremost, my husband James, daughter Abby, and myself want to offer our prayers to every person that has been affected by this horrific storm. And of course, our disaster assessment and response team that is diligently working out there. And of course, I don't want to repeat everything everybody says because we're all in agreement, but the linemen, the law enforcement. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our frontline medical personnel and coordinators of resources in our community. Key aspects. One thing I want to make mention is, our local residents and your local leaders really know their community, our community, better than anyone else coming into Aiken County, city of Aiken. And their involvement is critical to that disaster response and recovery. So how can we help as a community and as residents? Communication, I think, is top of the line. Please, I encourage everyone to be mindful of how we use social media. Please get Dominion information, Aiken Electric Co-op information, EOC County Emergency Management information, and City of Aiken information through their direct websites and through their direct social media accounts. Don't quote them, share their information. It's accurate, and our community desperately needs to be guided properly. That's one thing. I think also this is a perfect time to call upon our residents to give each other grace, but most importantly, to pull from the goodness of their heart to donate and to provide resources to so many aspects of our community, whether it's the hospital, whether it's our emergency management division, our local neighborhoods that still don't have power. Let's just all get together. Let's drop off pallets of water. Let's drop off food. Let's get together, form a group of 5, 10, 15, 20 people, and drop off this stuff where it's needed. Ms. Gale and Ms. Price mentioned 2 areas in our community where I think would really benefit from that. So call me. I will round up troops. I have an amazing force in my district that today, as I was out in our community walking around, talking to our constituents and just hearing all the concerns, we're like, Andrea, what can we do? Where is the help needed? Let's rally up those troops and put them out there. I'm sure our city would appreciate it. Our county emergency management folks would appreciate it. And it really, as everything's opening up, as Senator Young mentioned, resources are coming available. So let's put it in the hands of the people who need it. And pick and choose your battles. I feel that in the last few days, as we get the messages and the text messages and the desperate phone calls for help in certain areas, we have to pick and choose our battles. But I encourage you guys to use us as stewards of communication at the city level and at the county level. That's what we're here for. You put us here. And it is our job to talk to you, to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, and to make sure that that messaging is pushed up through the city, through the county, through our amazing delegation, Tom, Bart, and Mr. Bill. I mean, that's what gets things done. But we have to work together, and we have to make it happen. So, I just want to leave you with one simple note is we're here as a community. We all represent a district, but at the end of the day, we want to do what's best for the entire city. So whether you live in District 5 or you live in District 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 6, call us. We'll make it happen. We have a great relationship. We're going to interact. We're going to collaborate and just push the messaging, because that's all we can do. The county's strapped. We need to support them, but we have to get the message out. God bless everybody. Thank you for this time, and thank you to Stuart and staff, because at the county and city level, what's happening is because of our staff, not because of us. Thank you.
Great advice, thank you. And last but not least, District 6, Councilman Woltz.
Everybody's always glad when I get up because they know I'm the last one. This will be over with. No, I'm not going to reiterate everything everybody said. There's too much there. There's a lot of good things going on. I've seen a lot of great things happening. I've seen neighbors coming together, having meals outside, emptying the refrigerator. I helped my wife empty ours. I ate the ice cream so it wouldn't go bad. So they did that. So there've been yeah. You guys are throwing away. Didn't think fast enough. But there have been a lot of good things. And I appreciate everything everybody's done. You've seen everybody in this community, whether it was city, whatever, working together and getting us put back together. I'm going to steal one of Leslie's things here where she says she saw a young man out with a broom sweeping the road. My road was blocked. My neighbors couldn't get out. The whole neighborhood got together and started clearing up. And we had a young man out there sweeping the road. My young man was 90 years old. He was out there with a broom sweeping the road. So everybody's come together on this, and it's been you got to take the bad and make the best out of it. If I could say anything to tell everybody one thing, I'm sure everybody's looked at their phone, keeps seeing, what's the schedule to get the power back on here? What's the schedule to get the power back on this street? What's the schedule to get the power back? If we had a schedule, we would share it with you. We do not have a schedule. So everybody asks, what's the schedule? We don't have it. Our schedule is as soon as possible. That's what we want. That's what we hope for. And as at the governor's conference yesterday, they said they're going to have a couple of thousand people in here working next week. Or no, Wednesday, right? Wednesday. That's pretty quick. So you're going to see an army come in here. Get out of the way. So thank you all. We're glad you're here. If we can do anything to help us, you've got numbers for us. All our numbers are there. We're always glad to get a call. Thank you all.
Thank you. Great remarks, great advice, and we'll do it. And now we have some updates from our city manager, Mr. Wiedenbow.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to talk briefly about what to kind of expect in the coming days and weeks ahead. As mentioned, we expect to have more utility workers here. Dominion's president shared at yesterday's press conference that countywide they expect to have over 2,100 linesmen here by Wednesday, which is 2 days from now. One thing to keep in mind too, trees that are down, our staff has worked diligently and with the aid of multiple contractors to move trees out of roadways all around our city limits. There are trees that you may be wondering, why are some trees still in the roadway? Well, that is because they are wrapped in utility lines, and we must practice safety and not, that's Dominion. Dominion has a special team that has to come through, and Aiken Electric, with it depending on the service area, to clear those lines, cut the lines, so then the trees can be moved out of the way. So some of the streets and some of them are main thoroughfares. Williamsburg's one, for example, there's utility lines. So we are working diligently, though, to get the trees cleared, and we are making substantial progress. We have at least 3 contractors helping us at this moment around the city for this. The fact that the president approved the governor's request for a disaster declaration will help tremendously. We will have FEMA assets here, we expect this week, so we can begin having conversations and sharing information about what homeowners and business owners, as well as the city, can do as it relates to what FEMA can bring to our community. Debris pickup, again, as noted, and a lot of what I'm saying, if you aren't following the City of Aiken on our Facebook page, or checking online, which I realize if you don't have electricity, you're kind of limited. But I know I'm surprised at the number of people that are responding to our Facebook posts, social media posts, and are viewing our website. So it's out there, but share it with folks that don't necessarily have access to that. For example, debris. There's several options with your own personal storm debris. You can put it by your roadside, as you by your property at the right-of-way. As you know, under normal circumstances, which we are not in normal circumstances, there is a pile size limitation. We are suspending that indefinitely because we recognize the amount of yard debris, whether it's the fibrous material, trees and such, limbs, trunks, etc. There's under normal circumstances, a maximum pile size that has been suspended. We do ask that you keep your the length of any debris as best as possible to 6 feet or less. That is for safety purposes for our workers as they are loading it, and also just capacity, because if it's much longer, the capacity of the truck gets filled up faster. So we ask you to do that. We are beginning that today, very slowly. With FEMA, what we're going to do, as well as the county, as part of their FEMA response, their emergency management response, once their debris contractor is here to begin hauling debris, we will be participating in that contract. So we will be doing it at that contractor and others to expedite it as fast as possible. What the volume is at this time, we have no way of knowing other than to say it is substantial. And comparable, if not exceeding, what we saw in 2014, based on comments said by the Dominion president and some individuals who worked Hurricane Hugo 35 years ago in the Low Country, Sumter, and into Rock Hill. It's comparable. So that just gives us an idea of the substantive, how substantial this is. So we are going to expedite this as much as possible with the help of multiple contractors. Again, on our Facebook page, there's a tremendous amount of information. I'm not going to go through one by one, but also what we want our folks to realize is we are here. You can contact us. We are operational in terms of our phone system and our response system. Understand, again, we have to be very careful with lots of down power lines and such in terms of actual response, but we are here for you. And we are going to continue to have more information for you as individuals and various neighborhoods as we move forward. So thank you for your attendance here. And I will be glad, and my staff, I want to salute, I've got department heads here and other key staff, but also there's a tremendous number of staff that have been working since the beginning of this weather event, Hurricane Helene. I want to specifically note we had staff out before the worst of the winds, just barely past midnight, addressing the initial fallen trees. They had to come in and ride out the storm, but our staff, I'm very proud of them to date, and they're going to continue to work very hard and diligent along with our contractors to get us through this, along with the spirit of the community and the help that we're going to give each other. So thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Like I said before, call us if you need something. We're here to help. Appreciate it. Let's roll.